Hello everybody. Today we'll be doing a full platform demo. We'll start from the dashboard and work our way down the different products and features that Keepnet has to offer. Let's begin. Starting with the dashboard, we have some helpful widgets for you to utilize while using the platform. Starting off with our Phishing Reporter widget. This widget will show the number of people who have the add-in installed and the number of users who have been active within the previous 4 minutes. We have our Incident Analysis widget, which will display the total number of suspicious emails reported and the number of emails confirmed to be malicious. Our Investigations widget will show us the number of automatic and manual investigations that we have ran in our incident responder. And then our ROI summary will summarize the estimate return or investment or savings achieved using the incident responder product. Our recent campaigns will show us the top 5 most recent phishing campaigns that we have launched, the launch date, and a quick status for those different campaigns that we've launched. We can also click on any of these here as a fast link to our Phishing Campaign Manager to view any of these campaigns. We also have our Phishing Campaign Trends, which will show a helpful graph of our previous campaigns that have been launched. We'll be able to see very quickly the number of users that have opened the email, the users that have clicked the link, and the users that have submitted data over the past 6 months. Our recent incidences will show the subject line and the status of the analysis, whether it's open, close, in progress, or false positive, and the result of that analysis. Our top posts will show the top posts within our threat sharing product here that have had the most interaction within the community. And our most engaged campaigns will show the top 5 phishing campaigns that have been most successful, or in other words, the top 5 campaigns that have had the most phished users. Our recently posted threats will show the last 5 posted shares on the threat sharing platform, the name of the malicious content in the post, and the name of the community where it is shared. And under recent investigations, we could see the top 5 recent investigations that we have ran within the incident responder. Our top rules will show the top 5 playbook rules and the criteria used to analyze emails defined by the incident responder that was met most often. And our reported email trends will provide a monthly analysis of the previous 6 months that includes the total number of malicious, phishing, or undetected emails in the recent trend of activity. Our top reporters will show the users that have reported the most emails with our Phishing Reporter add-in, and then our most phished users would show users that have fell for the most phishing campaigns. And our top phishing simulation reporters will be able to show you the top 5 users that have reported phishing email simulations the most, and the number of emails that they've reported. Next, we'll jump into our Phishing Simulator. Our Phishing Simulator offers a wide range of templates for us to utilize for launching realistic phishing simulations. Right now, we're on our phishing scenarios page, currently underneath the scenarios page. Here, we'll be able to see all the scenarios that we can utilize to launch in our phishing simulations. This table will show the scenario name, the method that we're utilizing for our simulation, whether that is a click-only campaign, a data submission campaign, an attachment campaign, or a multi-factor authentication campaign. We can see the language that this template is in, any tags associated with this template, the difficulty, who created the template, whether this is a Keepnet system template or created by your own company, and then the date that it was created. Under Actions, we could fast launch this single scenario to our target users. And under More Actions, we could edit this template if it was a template created by our own company. We could preview this template, and then we could duplicate this template if it's a system template, so that way we can choose to edit it. Or we could delete the template if it is one of our own templates that we've created or a duplication of a system template. We have the search bar here to filter any specific scenarios that we want to pull in. And we also have some filter options as well. We could either set a default filter, so once we set the filters for the templates that we want to pull in, such as the difficulty, the language, and the method, we could set this as a default filter, so every time we come to the platform, these filter settings will be saved. We can restore to our default filter settings or clear all filters. Here we can create a new scenario to pair any of our email templates that we've created or are within the platform with any landing pages that we've created or are in the platform. We could refresh this page, we could download this table as a list, and under table settings we could choose what table columns to pull in to this table here. Under email templates, we'll see similar information within this table. These are going to be specifically the email templates that the end user will see when receiving a simulation. And under actions, we could preview these, and under more actions, we can edit it if it's a template that we've created or duplicated. We could duplicate the template, or we can delete it. And same thing for the landing pages. If we click the new button here, we can create our own custom templates, and after filling in some of the required template info information like the name of the template, the description, the method, the language, any tags, the difficulty, and then we can make this available for any companies underneath our account. If we're using a reseller or MSSP model, we'll be able to utilize our template editor here. In order to create our own custom templates, we could add any images, create any custom text, and add any merge tags or buttons as well. Next, we'll jump into our campaign manager. Here we'll be able to see any campaigns that we have previously launched to our end users. This table will show the following information: the name of the campaign, the number of target users we've sent this to, the status of our campaign, whether it's in progress, idle, or completed, the number of scenarios associated with this campaign launch, the method that we're utilizing, whether it's a click-only campaign, a data submission, multiple methods, an attachment or MFA-based scenario, if we've included training in our enrollment, who this enrollment was created by, the email delivery that we're utilizing, whether it's our SMTP, a custom SMTP, or direct email creation, the date this enrollment was created, and the last time that it was launched. And under actions, we could either preview the templates that we're launching, and under more actions, we can either edit this campaign, create a new instance to relaunch the templates to our end users, or delete this campaign. To launch a new campaign, we'll click Add New Campaign. We'll name our campaign. We'll set the tracking duration, so how long we want to capture data for our reports. We can mark this as a test for testing to exclude this data for any of our advanced reports. We'll select the scenarios that we want to utilize. Here we can also preview any of our email templates or landing pages. We can also assign training for any given scenario that we launch. The training will be distributed depending on the end user's point of failure. If it is a click-only campaign, the point of failure will be the click. If it's a data submission campaign, the point of failure will be submitting data. If it's an MFA scenario, the point of failure will be submitting the MFA code. We'll select the target group that we want to launch this campaign out to. We can select multiple groups as well. Our limit recipients tool will allow us to only send this campaign to active users using the Phishing Reporter button, or we can send this campaign to a random percentage or number of target users. On the delivery settings, we'll be able to select the SMTP or direct email creation settings that we're using. Under the frequency settings, if we've selected multiple scenarios, we can choose the frequency that they'll be distributed. We could either have these scenarios randomly launched at one time, or we can have them scheduled out anywhere from a weekly to a quarterly cadence. For schedule, we could either start this enrollment immediately, or we could save it for a later date and time. Under distribution, we could send emails when the campaign starts, or we could send emails on any specific defined days or hours. Sending limit per batch is going to be how many emails we send out at a time, and sending emails with a delay is going to be how often we're delaying those batches of emails. Our campaign summary page will highlight all the settings that we've selected to create this campaign. We'll be able to see the name, the method of the templates we're using, the difficulty for those templates, the tracking duration that we've selected, when this campaign is starting, the sending limit, the email delivery that we're utilizing, and the frequency for the campaign launch. And under Other, we'll be able to see if we selected anything under the Limited Recipients menu. We'll be able to see a preview of our target user groups. And under Scenarios, we'll be able to see a preview once again of the scenarios that we're launching. And since we selected monthly campaigns, we'll be able to see a preview of the schedule for those campaigns that are being launched. Once everything looks good here, we'll go ahead and click Launch. To view any of our campaign reports, we can select the instance for any specific campaign that we've launched. This will bring us to our instance menu. We'll be able to see the frequency, the start time for this campaign, the number of target users we've launched this to, the status of our instance, and the date that it was created. And under More Actions, we could view our report. On our campaign reports page, we'll have these 4 helpful widgets here in order to see at a quick glance users that have not responded to the phishing exercise, users that have opened the email, users that have submitted data, and then finally users that have submitted the MFA code if we launched a MFA scenario. And then we can see a breakdown of specifically who took these actions for any of our given fields. Back on our summary page, we could download a report. We could resend this campaign out to any of the following fields. And then we can also access our training report if we launched any remedial training following the phishing exercise. Further down, we can see our campaign info similar to the campaign summary when launching the campaign, as well as the email delivery. And then we can see a preview of the scenarios that we're launching, as well as the training that was launched. Next, we'll jump into our Callback Simulator. Here on our Callback Scenarios page, you can see all the scenarios we have available to launch. We can also create new scenarios as well here by clicking Add New Scenario. And to create a new scenario, we have to enter a name. We can enter a description if we'd like. We'll select the language that this template will be in. We can enter any tags relative to this scenario. Click Next. Here we select the email template that the end user will receive. And next we'll select the callback template that the end user will interact with over the phone. We could preview those steps for the selected landing page here. And we can hear previews of that voice recording as well. Click Next. We're now on our scenario summary page, highlighting all the settings that we selected, the templates we decided to use. We could preview those here. And if everything looks good, we can hit save. And now, our new scenario has been added to our scenarios list. Other key features on this page, if we go under actions, we can preview any scenario here as well. Under more actions, we can also edit the scenario, we could duplicate it, or we could delete it. Up here we also have download options. We could download a list of these templates if we'd like. We could refresh the page, and then we could choose what columns are available on our table. And then we're going to click up here on email templates. Here we can see all the email templates we have available to use. On this table we can see the language, the difficulty, the date they were created, as well as who created them. Under actions, we could preview any of these templates, and under more actions, we could edit, duplicate, or delete these templates. You'll see here that edit and delete are grayed out right now. For system templates, we cannot edit or delete them since they are system templates, but any templates that you create under your own company, you will be able to edit or delete. If you want to modify a system template, you can duplicate it, and then you'll be able to edit and delete it as well. Our table settings up here allows us to choose what columns we see. We can download this list, and we can refresh the page as well. If we want to create a new email template, we can simply click New. We'll give our template a name. We can enter a description. We can choose the language this template will be in, and we can enter any tags to associate with this template. Under difficulty, we can assess our own difficulty. And as a reseller, we can make this template available for any tenants underneath our master tenant space. Click Next. Here on the email settings page, we can edit our email template. We can choose the subject that the end user will see. We can choose the from name and the from email. And then we could use the email template editor here to change any text in our email, edit any logos, add any links or merge tags. And we could change anything here by simply clicking on the open blocks and using our editor tools available here in the toolbar. And on this page, we're going to click Callback Templates. Here we have all the available templates that we can use to create a callback scenario. You'll see on this template page, we could view the template name, the language this template is in, the AI voice associated with it, the difficulty, who created this template, whether it's your master tenant or a system template. We can see the date it's created, and we can see who has this template available. Under actions, we could preview the callback template, and under more actions, we can edit the template, duplicate it, or delete it. If we'd like to create a new template, we'll go ahead and click New up here. Give our template a name. We can enter a description. We could define any tags to associate with this template. We could assess our own difficulty, And as a reseller, we can make this callback template available for any tenants underneath our master tenant space. Go ahead and click next. Here we'll set up our dialog settings and our callback settings. First thing we're going to do is select the language that this template will be in, and we'll select the AI voice we'd like to use. We can now set up our steps for our callback template. We either have the option to choose text to speech, or we can upload an MP3 file. If we choose text to speech, the AI voice we created will narrate any text that we write out in this script here. After you've entered your text and created the appropriate number of steps for your landing template, go ahead and click save. Now if we want to launch our callback scenario, we're going to go to Campaign Manager. Before you use the callback simulator, please contact Keepnet customer support to receive your callback number to use for your simulations. Click New and name your campaign. We'll set the tracking duration, and we can mark this as a test to exclude this from any of our holistic advanced reports. Click Next. We'll select our template, and we can preview the email template that the end user will receive, as well as the callback template. Click Next. We'll select the user group that we want to launch this callback simulation to. Click Next. Under email delivery, we can either keep the Keepnet default, use our own custom SMTP, or we can use direct email creation for our Microsoft Suite users. We can set the frequency, how often this campaign will launch. We can either do one time, weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, or quarterly. Please keep in mind as well that the frequency settings will only work if we've selected multiple scenarios for our campaign to launch. We can schedule when we want this campaign to launch, and we can set up our email distribution settings here. Once we're happy with our settings, we'll click Next. Now on our campaign summary page, highlighting all the settings that we selected, we can once again preview our target groups, and we can preview our email template and our callback template. Once everything looks good, we'll go ahead and click Launch. Now that our campaign is running, it'll populate here on our Campaign Manager page. Some key information: we can see the campaign name, the number of instances, the status of our campaign, the number of scenarios we're launching, and the date this campaign was created. We could preview our template again here, and under More Actions, we could create a new instance, we could duplicate this campaign, and we can delete it. If we want to view a report for any of the campaigns we've launched, we'll click on the instance for that related campaign, and under Actions, we'll click View Report. Here we can see our campaign summary page. We'll be greeted by these 4 widgets that will show who hasn't responded to the campaign, who opened the email, who called the callback number, and who entered the digits on the callback simulation. We can see other helpful campaign info here, as well as our info on email delivery, and we can see our callback scenario template that we've launched. If we want to see specifically who interacted with this campaign, we can click these tabs up here for Open, and we can see the user information here. Same thing for the callback number. Important thing to highlight here is what scenario they received and how many times they called back. And same thing for who entered the digits on that campaign. We can also see no response, users that reported this email with our Phishing Reporter button, and then our sending report. Finally, we could choose to resend this campaign to users where the email failed to send, users that only opened the email, users who only called the callback number, and users who entered the digits, and users who haven't responded. Finally, we can download our report as an XLS file to view or distribute to anybody outside of the platform. Next, we'll jump into our Vishing Simulator. We'll start with our Vishing templates page. Here we'll be able to see all the templates we have to utilize when launching a Vishing campaign. This table will break down into the following. We'll be able to see the name of the template, the language this template is in, the AI voice being utilized, the difficulty of the template, who the template was created by, whether it was created by your tenant or a system template, the date the template was created and the time, Available for will show the number of companies this template is available for. This is only relevant if you're an MSP or reseller. You'll be able to see the number of companies that your template is available for. Under tags, we'll be able to see any tags associated with this template. And under actions, we could preview the template. And under more actions, we could choose to edit this template, duplicate the template, or delete it. If we want to create a new template, we'll enter in the following template information: the description, any tags to be associated, the difficulty of the template. And then if we're an MSP or reseller, this is where we can choose to make this template available for just our company or any companies underneath our account. Under dialog settings, we'll choose the language in the AI voice that we'll utilize. And then our Vishing templates are built out in a series of text-to-speech AI steps. So we'll enter the text for the AI voice to narrate, the number of digits the end user has to enter in order to move to the next step, and then we'll enter as many steps as necessary for our Vishing template, and we can add up to a total of 5 steps. For the end user to be considered vished in our reports, we'll have to also highlight our Vishing step, so that way when the end user enters in the correct number of digits on this step, they'll be considered vished in our reports. We also have an invalid dialing notice that'll play, and we can enter any custom text in our invalid dialing notice. If we don't want to utilize text-to-speech, we also have the option to upload a MP3 sound file narrating these steps for the end user. And we could do the same thing for our invalid dialing notice as well. Once we've created our template, we can go ahead and click Save. If we want to launch any of these templates, we'll go underneath our Campaign Manager. In our Campaign Manager, we can see any of our previous enrollments that have been launched. We'll see the campaign name, the target users that this is being launched to, the status of our campaign, who the campaign was created by, the name of the template, and the date and time this enrollment was created. And under Actions, we could either preview the template. If our campaign is still running, we could choose to stop the campaign. And under More Options, we could view a report or delete our campaign. For any of these fields as well, we have some filter options in order to finite your search for any specific templates. If we want to create a new campaign, we'll click New. We'll enter in the name for our campaign. Under Schedule, we'll choose if we want to send this campaign now, save for later, or schedule for a later date and time in any specific time zone. And once again, we can mark this as a test to exclude from our reports. Click Next. We'll select our Vishing template, and we can utilize any of these search filters here to find any specific template. We can also preview the template on this page in the specific steps, and we'll click Next. We'll select our target group, and once again, we can select multiple target groups. Click Next. On the call settings, we'll select the phone number that the end user will see when receiving the call. Under distribution, we could choose to send calls over any number of weeks. And we can send calls on any defined days in between 9 to 5. And we can customize this as well to finite our campaign launch. Click Next. On our summary page, we'll be able to see the following settings that we've selected for creating this campaign: the campaign name, the language and AI voice that we're utilizing, the number of target users we're launching this to, the phone number that the end user will see, when this campaign is starting. We can also preview the target groups that we're launching this to, and a preview of our Vishing template. Once this all looks good, we'll go ahead and click Launch. And to view any of our campaign reports, we'll once again go under Actions and click View Report. And for our campaign summary page, we'll be able to see these helpful widgets here to give a quick glance on who answered the call, who was successfully vished, and who did not respond or didn't answer the call. We can see the same info once again from our campaign summary page: number of target users we're launching this to, the language and AI voice we're utilizing, start and end delivery date and time for our campaign, the caller phone number that the end user will see, and the calling status. And then once again, we can preview our template in the individual steps here. On this page, we can also download a report, and we could choose to resend this campaign to any of the following fields. And then if we click on these tabs here, we can see specifically who interacted with the template by first name, last name, phone number, department, the call date and time, and the call duration in seconds. And we'll be able to also see this for our vishing step, as well as no response. We can also see a full breakdown of all the users that we've launched this campaign to. And the only difference in our table here is going to be under status. We'll be able to see if they have not responded, answered, or successfully vished. And under details, we'll be able to see the status once again, the call date, and the call duration in seconds. Next, we'll jump into our Smishing Simulator. We'll start with our Smishing Scenarios page where we can see all the scenarios that we can utilize for launching a smishing campaign. Our table will break down into the following: the scenario name, the method for our campaign, whether it's a click-only campaign, a data submission campaign, or an MFA campaign, the language that this template is in, any tags associated with the template, the difficulty, who this template was created by, whether it was created by your company or a system template, the date and time this template was created, and then under actions we could preview the template, as well as the landing page. And under more actions, we can edit this template if it is a template that we created. We could duplicate this template, which is relevant if we have a system template that we want to edit, or we can delete this template if it is a template that we created. And to create a new scenario, we'll click New here. We'll fill out the following scenario fields, select the text message template we want to utilize, select the landing page we want to utilize, and then finalize our scenario on the summary page. If we want to create custom text message templates or view any of the templates we have available in our library, we can click text message templates. And once again, we'll be able to see the template name, the method we're utilizing, the language this template is in, any tags associated with the template, the difficulty, who the template was created by, and the date and time it was created. And then we could preview this as well. And under more actions, we have the same fields. And if we want to create our own text message or landing page templates, we could simply click New, fill out the following information, and then for our text message template, we can just simply type out the text message that the end user will see and click Save. And for our landing pages, we'll utilize our template editor similar to our Phishing Simulator templates. If we want to launch any smishing campaigns, we'll come under our campaign manager where we can see the campaign name, the number of target users we've sent this to, the status of our campaign, the number of scenarios within our campaign, the method for our campaign, who this was created by, the date this campaign was created, as well as the last date it was launched. And we could preview our template once again, and under actions we could choose to edit this campaign or delete it. If you want to create a new campaign, we'll go ahead and click Create New. We'll name our campaign. We'll set the tracking duration, and we can mark this as a test to exclude from our advanced reports. We'll select the templates that we want to utilize for our campaign, and we can select as many of these as we'd like to launch. And here we can see a preview of the text message template and the landing page, and we can choose to assign training from our content marketplace for any of our given templates. The training will be distributed depending on the end user's point of failure. If it is a click-only campaign, the point of failure will be the click. If it's a data submission campaign, the point of failure will be submitting data. If it's an MFA scenario, the point of failure will be submitting the MFA code. We'll select the target groups that we want to send this to, and once again we can select multiple target groups if necessary. Under limited recipients, we can choose a random selection of target users to send this to, either by percentage or by users. Under sender phone number, we can choose the phone number that the end user will see when receiving the text message. Under the frequency settings, if we've selected multiple scenarios, we can choose the frequency that they'll be distributed. We could either have these scenarios randomly launched at one time, or we can have them scheduled out anywhere from a weekly to a quarterly cadence. For schedule, we can select the start date and time in our specific time zone, or we could save for later. And under distribution, we could send this text message when the campaign is launched, or we can send it on any defined days or hours. And these fields are customizable as well. For sending limit, we'll choose how many text messages will go out at a time and how often we want to delay those batches of text messages. And on our summary page, we'll be able to see a preview of our campaign info, the name, the method of our templates, the difficulty of our templates. We'll be able to see the start time, how long we're collecting data for these reports, and then the phone number that the end user will see, and any other settings that we've selected as well. We'll be able to see a preview of the target groups we're sending this to, and since we selected quarterly campaigns, we'll be able to see a schedule of when these templates will roll out. Under Smishing Scenarios, we'll be able to see a preview of all the templates that we've selected, and once this looks good, we'll go ahead and click Launch. If we want to view a campaign report, we'll go ahead and click on an instance for any given campaign that we want to view a report for, and under Actions, we can click View Report. Here, we'll be able to see on our campaign summary page who hasn't responded, who has clicked the link, and who has submitted data, and we'll be able to see similar campaign information to our summary page when launching the campaign. As a helpful reminder, this will be the number of target users, the campaign lifetime, the language this campaign is in, the start date and time, as well as the last time this campaign was launched, the sending status, the phone number that the end user will see when receiving the campaign, as well as a preview of our templates. And under any of these tabs in the table, we'll be able to see the first name, last name, and phone number, and department of the user, as well as the region, the last date and time they clicked, and the number of times that they clicked. Or if we're in submitted data, we'll be able to see our password complexity score, the last time data was submitted, and the number of times data was submitted. Back on our summary page, we'll also be able to download a report, as well as resend our campaign to any of the following fields. This concludes our Smishing Simulator. We'll now jump into our Quishing Simulator. First thing we're going to do from the dashboard is we're going to go down to Quishing Simulator, and we're going to click Quishing Scenarios. This will bring us to the Quishing Scenarios page that you can utilize to either launch the scenarios that we already have in place here, or you will also see the scenarios that you've created in here as well. The key difference, besides the name of your template, it'll say created by system if it is a Keepnet template, and then it'll say your company name if it is a template that you created. Here we'll be able to see what language the template's in, the phishing method that we're using, and any tags associated with this template, as well as the difficulty and the date created. From here we can fast launch a single scenario to our target users, and we can come under more actions and we can either edit this template if it's one we created, we could preview this template, we could duplicate the template, or we can have it deleted. Since these are system templates, you will not be able to delete or edit them, but if you want to alter these in any way, simply create a duplicate and you'll be able to edit or delete them. On this page, we can also refresh the list. We could download a full file of all the scenarios we have available, and then we can change our table settings if there's any columns here you'd like to remove. If we want to create a new scenario, we'll just click New, and here we can name our scenario. We can enter a description. We could select the method, which will be click only, data submission, or MFA. We can select the language that this template is in. And we can add any tags to help locate or define the scenario. And finally, as a reseller company, you have the ability to make this template available for your company or any companies underneath your subtenants. Let's click Next. Now we're on our Select Email Template page. This is the page that you'll choose the email template that you'll pair with the landing page for your scenario. Select the template that looks good for your use case, and click Next. Next, we'll select the landing page template that we'd like to use. Same as before, we're going to select that template. We'll go ahead and click Next. We're now on our scenario summary page, where we can see some of the basic scenario information that we added in on the previous pages. We could preview the email template we're selecting, and we could preview the landing page template as well before saving. If everything looks good, go ahead and click Save. And as you'll see, our template is now populated on the scenarios page. As I mentioned earlier, if we scroll over, we can see created by Acme Products, which corresponds with our company name up here as well. Next, we're going to go to Quishing Templates, where you'll see all the available email templates for the Quishing Simulator. To create a new template, we just go up to New, and we can either do email template, or we can do an individual printout template since this is our Quishing Simulator. If we do email template, we'll name our template. We can give it a description. We'll select the method for this template, which will be data submission for us. We can select the language that this template will be written in. And we can enter any tags to associate with this template. We'll assess our own difficulty for this template. And then if you're an MSSP company or a reseller, you have the ability to make this template available for any tenants underneath your master tenant. Once this is filled out, let's click Next. And now we're on our email template editor page. Here we can enter in the subject that the end user will see, the from name that the end user will see, and then the email address that the end user will see. From here we have two options. If we have an email that we'd like to use as our template, we could simply import that email by clicking here and downloading that email. Or if we're going to build our template from scratch, we can click Edit, and we can come in here and we can edit any text, images, or merge tags available on here. If we were to click individual printout template, we'd be brought to the same steps. And then once we design our template with our template editor, we'll go ahead and click Save. Final thing to note on this table, we can come in here and we can preview our template. We can edit the template. We can do a print preview. We can duplicate this template, or we can edit it. From here, we're going to go over to our Quishing landing page templates, where you'll see a table of all the available landing pages that we can use for our Quishing scenarios. If we'd like to create a new template, we can come up here and click Add a Template. We'll go ahead and name our template. We can give a description if we'd like. We could select the method for this Quishing template, which will, in our case, will be data submission. We could select the language that this template will be written in. We could select the language that we'll be writing this template in. We can enter any tags to associate with this template, and we can assess our own difficulty here. And then as an MSSP or reseller company, you have the ability to make this template available for any tenants underneath your master tenant. Once this information is filled out, click Next. And now we're on our landing page template editor. Here we'll be able to create the URL that the end user will see when they scan the QR link. We'll select the domain that we'd like to use, and we could select any of the following URL information here. And then as we fill this out, we'll see a summary of what our link will look like when the end user scans the QR code. Next, we'll come down here to our actual template editor, and we'll click Edit, and we'll be able to come in here and change any text, add any images, remove any images, or add any merge tags or sign-in credentials for our end users to enter on the landing page. Final thing to note, on our landing page templates page, under Actions, we could preview any of these templates. Under More Actions, we can edit, duplicate, or delete any of these templates available. If these were system templates that were created, we will not have the ability to edit or delete them without creating a duplicate. If this is a template created by your company, you have the ability to automatically edit, delete, or duplicate it. If we want to launch any of our Quishing scenarios, we'll go to Campaign Manager. Here you'll be able to see any past campaigns that you have launched, as well as campaigns that you will be launching in the future if they're scheduled out for a later date and time. To launch a new campaign, we can go to New. We'll enter in our campaign name. We'll set the tracking duration, or how long we want to collect data to generate a report. And we can mark this as a test if we want to exclude this from any of our advanced reporting. Click Next. We'll select the scenario or scenarios that we want to launch. We do offer multi-scenario campaign delivery, so if you want to select as many scenarios in here to randomly distribute or to stagger out over a specific frequency, we could do so here. We can also preview the email landing page that we're sending to our end users, and we can also assign training from our awareness educator from here as well for any specific scenario. The training will be launched at the point of failure for the end user, which will be entering data on the landing page. Once you've selected the appropriate scenarios and enabled training, hit next. Here we'll select our target user groups. This is where we can come in and select any of our user groups that we want to launch this out to. For MSSPs, we do offer multi-tenancy campaign launch, so as you can see, our master tenant here is Acme Products, but we can also launch the simulation out to groups within our subtenants, Acme Teleco. Go ahead and click next once we've selected the correct people. And on our delivering settings page, we can either keep the default SMTP that Keepnet provides, or we can use direct email creation if you're using Microsoft Suite, or if you have your own SMTP enabled, you can use that as well. For frequency, we can decide how often we'd like to send scenarios. If we leave this at one time, all scenarios will be launched at random. If we select weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, or quarterly, those scenarios will be staggered out over a weekly, monthly, or quarterly time frame. We could select our scheduled start time. We can either launch this now, or we can change this to reflect the date and time zone that we want to launch this campaign. And if we're not sure, we could just save it for later. Our distribution settings allow us to decide when emails will send, so we could either send emails once this campaign is launched, or we could send emails on defined days and hours by selecting those here. We can also change the sending limit batch, so if we don't want to send 50 emails, we could change this to 20 or whatever is applicable in your use case. And we can also delay those batches out by any number of minutes or hours or seconds. Go ahead and click next. We have our campaign summary page, which will show us all the settings that we've selected to create this campaign, everything from the name to the frequency, target users that we are launching this to, and the scenarios that we've selected. And once we're happy with our settings, we can go ahead and click launch. To access our Quishing reports, we will select the instance for the campaign that we would like to access a report for. So in this case, we'll click this one. This will bring us to our instance page. We'll go ahead and click view report under actions. And here we'll be able to see users that haven't responded, open the email, scan the QR link code, and reported this email with our Phishing Reporter add-in. These helpful widgets are here for a quick glance, but you can also come up into these tabs and we can see exactly who opened the email, who hasn't responded, and so forth. Back on our summary page, we can download an XLS file of this report, and we can resend this campaign to anybody who possibly submitted the MFA code, submitted data, scanned the QR link, opened the email, or maybe the email failed to send, or no response. And next we'll jump into the Awareness Educator, and we'll start with the training library. We have a couple different tabs that we can click on here. We have all of our materials, which is going to filter in all of our SCORM compliant training, any of our posters or infographics or screensavers as well, under all types here. Under most popular, we'll be able to see the trainings that we have launched the most to our end users. This will categorize it as our most popular training. Under favorites, we can see any trainings from our training library that we have marked under more actions here as one of our favorites. And if we come up here to favorites, we'll now be able to see that training located underneath our favorites tab. And then created by you will host any trainings that you have uploaded into the platform by clicking upload here. This will be a combination of all types of training that we could filter. So if we've created any learning paths, uploaded any SCORM training, or any infographics or posters or screensavers, those will populate under here in the created by you menu. We have a couple of different types of training material that we could utilize. We have our learning paths, which are going to be a combination of our bite-sized trainings from our different content place providers. We have those trainings from our content marketplace providers. That's going to be AwareGo, Ningeo, Goldfish, and Wiser, just to name a few. And then we have posters, and then we have learning paths, which are going to be a combination of our bite-sized trainings from our different content place providers. We have those trainings from our content marketplace providers. That's going to be AwareGo, Ningeo, Goldfish, and Wiser, just to name a few. And then we have posters, infographics, as well as our screensavers. And we can preview any of these as well. For example, if we wanted to preview one of our screensavers, we can come under Actions here and view that screensaver. And this works for any of our other types of training as well. So if we wanted to preview a poster, we can come in here under Preview, under Actions, and preview our posters as well. To search our training list library, we can utilize any of these filter controls up here to filter for any SCORM compliant trainings, any posters, infographics, or screensavers, as well as learning paths. Some of our filter controls are going to include the type of training we're filtering for, any behaviors, any categories, languages, who created the training, whether that's going to be you or any of our content providers, the target audience that fits this training, as well as the compliance that it may follow. If we go to more actions here, we can send that training, we can add it to our favorites, edit the training, make a duplicate copy to edit that copy, and delete the training. If we want to send any of our single content training, any of our infographics or posters, we just go back under the More Actions menu and click Send for the relative training type. We'll go ahead and create an enrollment name. And for training delivery for your LMS, if you choose to upload any of our trainings into your own LMS platform, you can select this feature and then fill out the following fields, and then click Save and Download to download a zip file of this SCORM package to upload into your own LMS. Select the content languages if we have a multi-language training that we're launching. And under SMS notification, we can also choose to send our training enrollments via text message instead of via email. Please keep in mind, if you do utilize this feature, you will have to select the phone number that the end user will see when receiving the notification, and you have to make sure that all of your target users have a phone number associated with their target user account. For scheduling, we could send this training now, or we could send it at a later date and time. For training reminders, we could send those reminders to go out any number of days, weeks, or months. And we can have that end when the user completes the training, when the user completes the quiz, after a number of occurrences, or on a specific date. We could choose to award a certificate. Our certificates are customizable as well, so if you want to create a custom certificate to reward after the user completes the training, you have the ability to do so. And then we can also auto-enroll new users that are added to our target groups as well. And we could choose for those users to be enrolled the same day that they're added to the target group, the next day, or within the next specific days or number of days. We can mark this enrollment as a test if we're doing any in-house testing, and we'll go ahead and click Next. We'll select our target user group that we want to launch this out to, and then we'll go ahead and click Next. And then finally, this is going to be a summary page highlighting all the settings that we've selected along the way. We can also preview this training as well, and we'll go ahead and click Launch. And now that we've launched that training, our enrollment will populate here under enrollments, where we can see our current enrollments and our past enrollments. The last thing that we'll cover here is going to be our learning paths. If we want to create a new learning path, we'll come up here under Training Library Content, click New, and we'll click Learning Path. We also have the option to upload your own SCORM compliant trainings, any posters, infographics, or screensavers. If we want to create any of the following, we'll have to enter in this information here. Enter in our description. We'll select the category that this training will fall under. We're going to let's do removable data. And then we can choose to categorize the compliance that this training would fall under, as well as the behavior. And then we can choose the target audience that this training will be applicable for. And then we can add any tags as well. We can also choose to upload a cover image for our training as well to make it easily recognizable. And for our MSSP and resellers, we also have the option to make this training medium available for either just our company or any companies underneath our master tenant space. Click next. Now we're going to select the materials that we're going to utilize for our learning paths. We do not have a limit as far as how many of these trainings we could pull together to create a full learning package. And we can also utilize different mediums as well. So if you want to pull in all SCORM packages or a few SCORM packages and a poster, or vice versa, or an infograph as well, you can mix and match any of these you'd like. We also have the same filter controls as before, so we can come in here and say for category, we'll do removable media. And for the type, we'll filter for SCORM and poster. And now we have all of the trainings that match this filter criteria. We'll go ahead and pull in this acceptable use training. We'll break it up with a poster, and then we'll add another training as well, follow up with another training, and then finish it off with a poster. And once we've pulled in the different trainings that we want to utilize, we have the option to move these around as well. So if you want one piece of training content to launch before the other piece of training content, we can change the order here. And once this looks good, we can go ahead and click save. Now you can see under our learning paths, we have created our newest learning path. And if we want to launch this, we once again go under more actions and click send learning paths. We can also go back and edit this as well, or duplicate it if we want to make a copy and make changes to that copy. Some final things to note on our training library page: we have the option to refresh this page. We could download a list of the trainings that we have to offer, and we also have the option to choose what table settings we want to pull in. So if we want to change anything within here, we can go ahead and choose what tables we're pulling in. Next, we'll go into our training enrollments. On this page, we can see all types of training content that we've launched. We can also see learning paths, training that we've launched, posters, and infographics. On the table here, we'll be able to see the enrollment name, the type of enrollment, whether it's a poster or SCORM training or an infographic. We'll see the material name, the category this training falls under, our target audience for this training, the languages that we're utilizing for this enrollment, and what company enrolled these users in this training. We can also see the start date for this enrollment, status of our enrollment, and how many users it was delivered to, and the email delivery type. We'll also be able to see our target user groups as well as any tags. And you'll notice here next to all these different categories, we have the ability to filter for any given category. On this page, this is where we'll access our individual campaign reports for each of our enrollments. And then under more actions, we can either edit this enrollment, we can preview the training that we've launched, or we can simply delete the enrollment. And up here under trash, we can see any of our enrollments that we've deleted. And here under the trash page, we can see any of our enrollments that we have deleted and sent to the trash. We could also choose to view the training reports for any of these deleted enrollments. We can also see under more actions the options to restore this enrollment back to our enrollments page or delete it permanently. For all these different categories, these will also be available for any of our different learning mediums. So final features on this page, we have the ability to refresh the page. We have some download options to download our list of enrollments that we've launched. And then we also have some table settings here to choose what different categories on this table we decide to pull in. Next, we'll jump into accessing our training reports. We'll start with accessing a report for our single content training. To access a report, we just go under Actions for any given enrollment and click View Report. Now with the report open, we can see on our training summary page these 4 helpful widgets here to give an overall summary of who opened the email, who's in progress, and who's completed the training, and who has not responded or opened the training enrollment email. We'll be able to see our training enrollment info, the number of users that we are launching this to, if we've enabled the auto enroll into this training enrollment to include new users who are added to the training target group to receive the training exercise automatically, the language that our training is in, the start date for our enrollment, if we've set any reminder options, and our delivery status. We can also see a preview of the enrollment email that we're sending, as well as a preview of the training material that we have sent. Next, we can go under our different training report tabs up here, and we can see in this first case all the users that we sent this training to. On this table here, we can see first name, last name, email, the user's phone number, the department, and then a quick status check of if the users completed the training, as well as their exam status. And then we can also see their score for any given exam that they've taken. We can also see the last interaction date and time with the training enrollment and the delivery type. We also have the option under actions to resend this training, and we can view details for the sending report. In this case, we can see the interaction that the user had with the enrollment, the date and time that this was sent, the user agent, the browser that the user is using, the geolocation, and IP address. Under these tabs here, we can see more detailed breakdowns of users that have specifically opened the email, users that have clicked the training link, the number of times they've clicked that training link, if the user is in progress or has completed the training, as well as their exam results. And then finally, users that have not responded to the training enrollment email and the sending report. The important things to note in this page is we can see the last sending status for this email and the SMTP that was used. And in our details for the sending report, we can also see with our integration to SendGrid if the email was successfully delivered to the user's inbox. We'll be able to see similar information for our posters and infographics. For our learning paths, there will be some extra information that is provided. Our summary is going to be a little bit different this time. It's going to show users that have started the learning path and users that have completed that training path. Under this page, we can also see our campaign settings, the target users that we sent this to, if we've engaged auto roll or not, the language that this campaign is in, the delivery start date, and if we set reminders. And once again, we can see the enrollment email template. We can also preview the training that we've sent. Under our users page, we can see a breakdown of all the users that we've sent this training to. The important thing to note here that's going to be different from the table information we've seen on our other reports is the current step that the user is on, the status as far as if they completed the training or are still in progress of completed the training or have not responded to the enrollment emails, the last interaction they had with the enrollment, and the delivery type. And in our details, we'll be able to see similar information again, what step that they're on, the browser agent that they're using, the geolocation and IP address. Up here, we can click and view reports for any of our given steps for our learning path, and these tabs up here will show the same information we reviewed under our single content training reports. And we could view these for any given step that the user would be on. In this case, for our poster summary, we can see users that have opened the email and downloaded the poster, and of course, not responded. For our single content training or for any of our given steps, we can choose to resend this training to users that have had the email failed to send, only opened the email, clicked the training link, didn't complete the training, failed the exam, or no response. Next, we'll jump into our incident responder. Here on the incident responder, we have these helpful widgets up here to see our Phishing Reporter add-in if there's any users online with the add-in currently installed. As before, this will update every 4 minutes. Our incident analysis will show the incidences that have been found harmful out of the total number of reported emails. Under investigations, we'll be able to see the number of automatic investigations versus manual investigations that have been resolved. And under ROI summary, we'll be able to see our time to value saved by using the incident responder product. Below here, we'll be able to see reported emails, and this will be emails reported with our Phishing Reporter add-in. The table breaks down into the following. We'll be able to see the subject information of the email reported, if there's an attachment present, the email address that reported the email, the sender IP for the reported email, the analysis source, the results of that analysis, whether it's a simulation, malicious, or phishing, or non-threat, the status of that investigation, whether it's open or closed. Date created is going to be the date that this email was reported, any tags associated with this email, and under actions we can either edit this to add our tags if necessary, or we can edit any of the following information on the screen. Under more actions, we could preview this email, we could view the details of the email, and this will include the information listed here. We could view any of the header information, we could see a preview of that email, any URLs associated with the email, as well as any attachments if there are any. On this page, we can also reanalyze the email or download this email if necessary. Back on our reported emails page, we can choose to launch an investigation by clicking on the Investigations tab. You can start an investigation on a user's inbox to find suspicious or malicious emails and delete it in seconds. This table will break down into the following. We can see the name of our investigation, what triggered the investigation, whether it's an automatic or manual investigation, the status of our investigation, the date that it was created and the time, as well as the expiration date for our investigation. We'd also be able to see the scan status and the progress of our investigation. Under actions, we can view details once again, which will take us to our investigation page where we'll be able to see if this email exists in any inboxes, junk folders, sent folders, or any other email folders. We'll also be able to see the criteria that this investigation met, and we can choose to duplicate this email as well. Under integrations, we could see the analysis service tools that we can use to scan reported email links, sender IP addresses, attachments to identify if these reported emails are malicious or not. And under playbook rules, we'll be able to see our playbook rules that we are currently running. We can also create new playbook rules by clicking new. We'll enter in our rule name, a description, and then we'll set our conditions here. We can choose as many conditions as we'd like to add, and we can choose any of the information that we would find in a typical email. Under actions, we could choose multiple actions to have take place. We can mark this email for any of the following categories. We can launch another investigation. We can notify any specific users, or we can add a status or a tag to this as well. If we want to create a new playbook rule, we just go up and click new to add a new rule. We'll give our rule a name. We can enter a description if we like. We can set the priority, which would allow this playbook rule to trigger over lower priority playbook rules. We can associate any tags, and we can activate the playbook rule. Next, we'll set the conditions our playbook rule has to meet. We could choose any of the information that we would find in a typical email. For our case, we're going to select from, we're going to do contains, and we'll do domain. We can also add multiple conditions if we like. We could say subject name, contains. We can also select and or to choose if our email needs to meet both of these conditions or one or the other. We'll select the action that will take place when this playbook rule is triggered. We can add multiple actions. In our case, we'll select notify, we'll select the reporter, and then we could choose the email template that we would like to send to this user. We'll also add an investigation. We could set up the investigation rules just like we did on our investigation page. And under actions, in our case, we'll have the email deleted. We'll click save. Next, we'll dive into our Phishing Reporter button. Our Phishing Reporter button can be utilized on the Phishing Reporter tab here. If our users are using the Phishing Reporter button within the Outlook desktop client, we will be able to see them here on the user's page. We can also see if our diagnostic tool for diagnosing any issues with the Phishing Reporter is online or not. And under settings, we can configure our Phishing Reporter add-in dependent on if we're using Google Workspace, Microsoft Exchange, Office 365, or Microsoft Outlook. Here we can configure the button itself, we can configure the added name, the branding, we can add any images or logos that we'd like to associate with the button. We could change any of these dialog box settings, as well as the warning label. Under email settings, we could select the recipient email address that will get a copy of the reported email. We could also CC or BCC any email addresses as well. And we could define the email subject information for the reported email notification, as well as the email message. We have other settings as well that we could utilize within our Phishing Reporter button, such as any API settings, proxy settings, or enterprise vault settings. We can also configure our diagnostic tool on this page, and once we configure the diagnostic tool, we can save and download it as well, just like we would with our Phishing Reporter button, to add into our Outlook desktop. If we make any changes to any of the settings within our Phishing Reporter button, we can click Save Changes here. If we're configuring the button for the first time, we'll click Save and Download, and we'll choose the email client that we're downloading the button for. Next, we'll jump into our reports. Here you'll see we have a wide range of advanced reports to utilize. We have reports by specific simulation type, such as phishing, smishing, and vishing. We have training metrics as well. And then we have our executive summary report for all social engineering campaigns. Now, to filter for any specific data or to export data, the steps will be the same for any of these reports. So for our example, we're going to pull our executive summary of social engineering campaigns. So if we want to filter for any specific data, we click Open Filters menu. And here we'll be able to filter for any specific date range. We can include or exclude any target users. We can include or exclude any target groups and any campaigns. And then if we are a reseller or MSSP company, we can filter by any companies as well underneath our master tenant space. To export any information, we simply go down to more options, and we export our data here. We can also come in here and sort by any of this information as well. You'll see here for this campaign, we can see any statistics on phishing activities, whether that's vishing, smishing, or QR code, and we can see department statistics as well. Exclusively for our executive summary report, we can come in here and click on our phishing activities. We can see who opened the email, who clicked the link, and in this case, who submitted MFA data on those MFA scenarios. And if we scroll down, we'll see here that we have our 6 users. And we can see their total campaign interaction, their risky behavior score, and how they've interacted with our different simulation types. Next, we'll jump into our threat intelligence. Jumping into our threat intelligence product scans the web, searching for signals and data that may represent a breach of your data security and a threat to your business. This product shortens the time between the potential data breach and defense response, reducing the opportunity for fraudulent activity. In this product, you could check for any data leaks for any of the email domains that you've allowed in the Domain Allow List menu. For our breached accounts table, we'll be able to see the breached account that shares the domain that we've added into the platform. The table here will break down into the following. Under breach account, we'll be able to see the emails that share the email domain that we've allowed on our Domain Allow list. Our password type indicates the status of the password information contained in the data leak, whether it's clear text, hash, MD5, etc. The source will show where the breach originated from and the name of where it was leaked. And then the leak date will give the year that this account information was leaked. Under table actions, we can either refresh this page, we can download this whole table as a list, and under table settings, we could choose what information we want to pull in to the product. Next, we have our email threat simulator. This product allows you to test your current email security gateway by sending realistic malicious malware to a test email address to see how secure your email gateway really is. In order to use this product, we'll go ahead and start a new scan. We'll get this warning prompting us to not use any real email accounts that we use in our day-to-day lives. We highly recommend using a test account for this since we are sending a large quantity of emails through your security gateway and into your inbox. Click I understand. We'll add our test email address in here. Under choose an option, we could either do automatic with password, manual with no password, or continue with Office 365. The difference between these options here is going to be how connected you want the email threat simulator to be with this test email account in order to create a detailed report. If we click automated with password or continue with Microsoft 365, we're essentially establishing a two-way connection with this email account and the email threat simulator. This will allow the product to build a detailed report on what emails have made it through and how secure your email gateway is. If we click manual no password, we would have to manually build out a report by going into the email inbox and clicking confirm on all the emails that have successfully made their way into that inbox. On our scans page here, we'll be able to see any of our past scans that we have launched in the past. On this table, we'll be able to see the date and time that these were created, the status of our email threat simulator scan, and the domain that we're testing. And under actions, we can view a report, and under more actions, we can either duplicate the scan or delete it. If we want to view a report, we can come in here and see our scan summary. Under these summary widgets here, we'll be able to see the total number of email attacks sent. For secure endpoints, we'll be able to see the number of emails successfully blocked by the email security solution. For insecure endpoints, we'll be able to see the number of emails that cannot be blocked by the email security solution. And under unchecked emails, we'll be able to see the number of emails that were not checked by the platform because the automated scan was not enabled or authentication of the target user account has failed. Under scan info, we'll be able to see the date and time that the scan of the target email address was initiated. For status, we'll be able to see the status of our scan, whether it's continued. Under status, we'll be able to see if the scan was completed, if it was continuous or in progress, and then we'll be able to see the email account that the attack vectors are targeting. We'll be able to see our threat scan score, which will be compiled of this widget information up here. And under stats, we'll be able to see the attack vectors that are listed by attack type or by email status, and whether they have malicious attachments, ransomware samples, or insecure emails. Up at the top here, we can click Sent Attacks and see a detailed list of attacks that were sent. And this table will break down to the name of the attack vector, the extension that was used, the category of the attack vector, the hash that was included in the attack vector, the status of this attack vector, whether it's in progress, successful, or there was an error with sending, and then the results of the attack, whether it is secure, insecure, or unchecked. And then finally, we'll be able to see the email send date. Next, we'll move on to threat sharing. Our threat sharing product allows you to connect with any other companies utilizing the platform to share any malicious threats that you or any of your fellow companies face. Here we can see any posted instances from any members in our threat sharing community. We can also come down here and create our own new community and make that either private to join or open to join. We can see any top posts from any of the communities that we're in. And then we could also see any suggested communities for us to join to view any other possible malicious threats. And if we're looking for any specific communities, we can utilize our search features up here. If we click on the Communities tab, we can see the communities that we are involved in, all communities that are on the platform underneath the threat sharing space, and any invitations to join communities. On the incidents page, we could view any details for any reported instances, and we could see any tags associated with these reported instances. Under more actions, we can launch an investigation with our incident responder, or we could share this threat if this is a public community that we're in. This concludes our full platform demo. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.